Every time an issue of Miss Marvel comes out, I want to knock my wife up so I can have a daughter and give her this book. Let's check out number 10. Hola amigos and Feliz Navidad! Christmas is upon us, and a week early from Christmas, I got another issue of Miss Marvel number 10 by G. Willow Wilson and artist Adrian Alfana. And before jumping into the review of Miss Marvel number 10, I want to talk a little bit about something that's occurred within comics the year 2014. I got into this a little bit last week with my Bitch Planet review, but 2014 has really been the year of the woman in comic books. We've seen this on the creative standpoint. We've seen this in characters. Carol Danvers has been pushed to the forefront of the Marvel Universe. Miss Marvel being introduced, the new Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, being introduced, is another strong female character that not only women, but men, boys, anyone can get into. We've seen a rise of feminism in comic books. We've seen equal opportunity for female writers. It's something we haven't seen very much. I'm going to go into this a lot in my year-end review, which I should be publishing within the next week or so, coming up with top 10 lists. Even thinking about things that occurred in February is difficult when I can hardly remember things that happened last Wednesday. Hence why I might be staggering a little bit over this review, because it's almost a week late. But I appreciate all of my viewers who have been sticking around, even though the reviews have been coming in a little bit late. I'm getting on top of this. So, I'm going to push away feminism, females in comics for a moment, and I'm going to talk about Miss Marvel number 10. This is the penultimate, I don't know. Penultimate, I'm going to say, because ultimate's a more fun word. This is the penultimate chapter in the Generation Y story arc. It pits Kamala Khan, our new Miss Marvel, up against the inventor, who's convinced a group of teens that their lives are worthless and that they should be converted into energy to better the good of the many rather than basically live. Sacrifice your life, because you're worthless, basically, to create energy for the world. This sort of, I'll say, mustache twirling villainy of the inventor is very reminiscent of Silver Age comics, 60s stuff. It's one of the reasons why people were so attracted to Steve Ditko, Stan Lee's Spider-Man run when it first started, because the villains were so intriguing and borderline silly. This is almost like Rocky and Bullwinkle with someone tying someone down on the train tracks and having to go to rescue them. But it's good, old-fashioned comic book fun, something we don't see a lot in comic books, unfortunately. That is fun, by the way, that we don't see in comic books. We see a lot of dire straits, doom and gloom, a lot of grim situations for our heroes. Here, situations are grim, but it's got this lighthearted feeling that's very fun, very captivating, and any reader can really get into this. You could give this to a little kid. You can give this to a teenager who's a total cynic and kind of says, fuck everything, pain in the ass teenager. Or you can give this to a grown man with a mustache wearing a pink tie the day before Christmas Eve. Whomever you give this to, I guarantee they will enjoy it. I said in my little intro, I wish I had a little girl to give this comic book to. I find myself constantly comparing Kamala Khan to Peter Parker in the 60s. Is this our new hero? Is this the person that we as readers, as outcasts, a lot of times, I hate to say the word outcast because I know a lot of comic book readers, it doesn't mean that you're a nerd. I hate that word. It doesn't mean that you don't work well in society. That whole stereotype, the Big Bang Theory bullshit, that's like the blackface of the comic book industry. But if you're that kind of person who's a bit of a wallflower, like a Peter Parker, can't get the girl, whatever it is Kamala Khan the new hero that we have to empathize with? Also, here's a teenage girl who we're rooting for, who's a hero, who's brand new, that everybody likes. We're always asking, as comic book fans, we're always asking the industry, especially the big two, for something new and different, a new character, whatever it is. And then a lot of times when we get it, we complain about it, and then it starts all over, and we get, Steve Rogers back from the dead, or whatever the hell it is that we complain about this week, or a new character gets introduced, and we don't really dig on him that much, so he kind of gets pushed aside after being put into the forefront. This isn't happening with Kamala Khan. We want to see more and more of her. Or I say we, but that's like the general consensus I'm getting from Miss Marvel. I don't know anyone who doesn't like this book, who isn't enjoying this book. So whatever the formula is that G. Willow Wilson and Adrian Alfano have, it is working. Whoever let this book get published, you are crazy, and I love you for it. It is really something special. I think it was Steve Wacker was the editor who approved this entire thing and got G. Willow Wilson on board. Let alone being a teenage girl, we always got to talk about the race and religion thing when talking about Kamala Khan. Khan, the new Miss Marvel, being a Pakistani, parents are Pakistani immigrants, living within the urban center of New York City, in Jersey City, which is just the PATH train away. I have a friend who used to live in Jersey City because it was easier for him to commute to Midtown than when he lived on the Lower East Side, which is actually on the island of Manhattan. So Jersey City, just as much a part of New York. Jersey gets a bad rap. I love that place. I had a house there growing up. I know every word to every Bruce Springsteen song, which I fucking hate, but give some Jersey love. Anyway, enough with the Jersey love. Back to the Pakistani thing. Pakistanis, Middle Easterns, and Arabics, whatever word you want to call it, Muslims in general, in the world are not portrayed in the best light in this post 9/11 landscape. I live in New York. I've said that a bunch of times, and I've seen a lot of this firsthand. Mosques being built in Manhattan, protests for them, the treatment of Afghani store owners, just Afghani, Pakistani, Iraqi, whatever they are, just as they are citizens of the United States, and they get a bad rap because of something that a bunch of crazy people did. Not every Muslim is an extremist. They are just as much a part of the society as you or I or anyone, race, color, creed, religion, whatever. A lot of times in media, they are portrayed either as background characters, as as the extremists in a kind of bad light, or as terrorists, as bad guys. It's very rare that we see a Middle Eastern Muslim character being portrayed in a realistic light, because they are real fucking people who have lives very similar to us, just a different religion. They're just from a different part of the world than the people who are stereotyping these people. It is horrible. And we see one of the most sincere depictions of Middle Eastern Muslim culture in the United States that I've ever seen, and that I have ever seen in comic books, especially a mainstream comic book from the big two. I am in constant disbelief at how spot on this is, and the positive light that is shown on this, I'll say minority, I hate using that word, but on this culture as a United States citizen. So not only does Miss Marvel have being a teenager up against her, being a new character, something that we always ask for, but we always kind of bitch about when we get it, being a girl, being a high school outcast, but she's also a Middle Eastern Muslim. This sounds like a recipe for disaster, but it's something we're all rooting for. We all want more of this. Chapter 10, it had some great action sequences. The art was always spot on. It captures that fun vibe of the character and of the story and of the whole approach perfectly in its art. The inventor wears a crazy mech suit. Who doesn't like crazy mech suits? The idea that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one. Oh man, I have my Star Wars mug. I always have my Star Trek mug when I do this. But that idea kind of being reversed and embracing individuality as Miss Marvel convinces these teens that they're not worthless, that every little life counts. That's a pretty cool message, man. And it's really depicted perfectly. And these teens start to root with Miss Marvel as they go against the person who they were defending, the inventor, in the first place. As we continue to root and root. And it's fun to hear that rally cry in the comics as you're starting your own rally cry at home. So, while not my golden sombrero this week, and I missed one last week if you're interested, it was Sex Criminals. But my golden sombrero this week is going to a book that I don't necessarily think was a better book than Miss Marvel number 10, but it's something I hadn't had in a while, and I was happy to see back. I had said before that the Golden Sombrero doesn't necessarily mean it was a 5 sombrero book. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the next Watchmen or The Dark Knight Returns, even though Pax Americana was. That was the best comic book I've ever read. But it's a book that as I drop my pen, I'm trying to look like a politician holding a pen wearing a tie. But it's a book that I personally enjoyed the most that week. I really enjoyed Miss Marvel. It's getting a higher rating than the book that's going to win the Golden Sombrero. And I present Miss Marvel number 10 with my first ever 5 sombrero rating. That's right. So, before wishing everyone a Merry Christmas, I want to let you know that if you're interested in reading comic books like the very wonderful Miss Marvel number 10, you can find a local comic shop near you. Use comicshoplocator.com, type in your zip code, and find the one closest to you. They can be a pillar of your community if you support them. If you can't find one, download your comics digitally using the Comixology app. It's available for both Android and iOS marketplaces, or visit your local library. They got some dope shit, and knowledge is power, kids. Have a very Merry Christmas. Feliz Navidad. I have a couple more videos coming out today. I hope you enjoyed my new segment with this picture-in-picture thing at the bottom. Remember, good night, good luck, grow mustache. Adios, bro, cha-chas. See you on the other side.